welcome back. This is the Ross Cemetery, established in 1842, and I want to commend the community for this wonderful inventory of the graves. This is the resting place of Chief John Ross and many of the Ross family, and we're going to visit those sites. These are the graves of Chief John Ross's sister Elizabeth Ross, who married John Golden Ross, and their daughter E. Jane Ross. Now, John Golden Ross was not a relative. He was a Scotsman, and as a child was coming to the United States with his mother and father. His father was washed overboard and drowned. His mother died of grief soon after they landed in the United States, and benefactors just helped John Golden Ross grow up. He and Elizabeth Ross were married in the East, and they journeyed here over the Trail of Tears, and he lived until 1859. He was a merchant, and he was well beloved in the Park Hill community. Their daughter E. Jane Ross and her mother Elizabeth Ross lived in the Merle home during the Civil War. When the Merles went back east to Virginia, they asked Elizabeth and the daughter to stay in the Merle home, and because there were sympathies in the family both with the North and the South, the Merles were Southern sympathizers and many of the Rosses were in the Northern Army, the house was saved. A historic spot indeed, here close to Chief John Ross's grave. These are the stones of Lewis Ross, brother to Chief John Ross and one of the wealthiest men in the Cherokee Nation, and his wife Frances or Fannie Holt Ross. She was a white woman, and they married when they were living back in the East. When they came to Park Hill, they established a home just a little way down here to the southeast, a wonderful home, and it was called Prairie Lee. Their daughter Minerva married George Merle, and later after her death, George Merle married their younger daughter Amanda, and so the family is connected in many ways to the Merles. Minerva Ross Merle rests under this stone. Minerva was the first wife of George Merle and the daughter of Lewis Ross and his wife Frances Holt Ross. Minerva and George Merle never had children, but they reared some of her nieces and nephews, for she loved children. When she died of malaria about 2 years later, George Merle married her younger sister Amanda. This stone commemorates the life of John McDonald Ross, the son of Lewis and Fannie Holt Ross, and he was a nephew of Chief John Ross. He was cut down at a very young age, was a promising, bright young man who had graduated from college in Princeton, New Jersey, and had a long life expectancy, but unfortunately did not live to fulfill his potential. I'm standing by the grave of Chief John Ross, beloved servant of the Cherokee Nation, born 1790 in the Eastern Cherokee Nation, and died in Washington, D.C. at the end of the Civil War in 1866. Within a year, the Cherokee Nation had raised the funds to move his body back here to rest in the Ross Cemetery in Park Hill, where he is surrounded by many of related relatives and families, the Naves, the Meggs, Rosses. What a fitting resting place for a servant of the nation. Thank you for joining us for Historical Tahlequah, sponsored by Bank of Cherokee County. You may view us online at www.intv.me. Again, thanks for joining us. I'm Beth Harrington.